Oh, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate y'all joining us here. You know, we're in the bigger studio because we got the big dogs in the house. I am Max Simpson, and Mr. Owen Evans, he's on vacation. He's enjoying himself, unlike Wales, who's living in Gibraltar. But we'll get into that later. But I'm, of course, joined by Mr. Jake Anderson. How we doing, man?
Hello. Thanks for having me, sir.
Oh, dude, of course. We're in an upbeat mood. We're seeing the people in the chat. What up, Stat Lackey Reese? What's up, Fat Kid? Let's go. Yes. Thank goodness Jake is here. He's here. We're here. We have a lot to get through. We're in an upbeat mood because, after Saturday's match, if, for those of you who had the pleasure of watching it? No, it was something, but it was a match. It was a 0-0 match. And, Jake, we often say that those 0-0 matches can be entertaining and maybe it doesn't reflect the scoreline. This one kind of did because it was a tough showing for both teams, but really Rising, they didn't really make much of a performance out of it.
Oh, we talked about it before the match, how this is a new Vegas. This is a possession-based Vegas, right? Mm-hmm. And it was weird, right? It was weird seeing a Vegas team without all the gimmicks, right? They were playing football, right? It's an actual team now. They have some talent. They're very inconsistent, but so is Rising, right? So in that way, I was expecting Rising to maybe sit back and play a little more defensive, like we have seen them on the road the last few weeks, right? We knew the summer was going to be very road heavy in the schedule. But to be honest, man, like that's one of those games where your keeper, because he's the best keeper in the league, got you a point.
Yeah.
Because honestly, man, we'll get into the stats, but it's like I don't know if they deserved a point, but they'll take it. Whereas Vegas is probably upset with themselves. They only came out with one.
Yeah, absolutely. And the chat is cracking me up. But it's definitely one of those, right? This is a revamped Vegas team. So, okay, it's maybe not the same clown car show that we've seen in the past, but right, this is still a Vegas team that is very much underperforming. I mean, listen, we'll say this. Vegas was at a better point coming into this match than they were in the entirety of last season from purely looking at the table. Like, that is something. But still, when you look at the rest of the West, not doing super hot. So you think for Phoenix Rising, this is a way to right the ship a bit. 2 losses in their previous 2 matches, right? The Open Cup exit against Seattle and then the loss away to Indy 11. And it didn't really shape out that way, right? If you look actually, and Owen pulled this, if you look at Rising's passing map from the match, it really kind of tells you all that you need to know. Because if those of you are kind of looking on screen, you notice one thing, that the top of the screen, that's where Rising is attacking. Jake, do you see a lot of activity and passes within that 18-yard box?
No, sir. And I think that's been obviously their issue all year. And I think it goes back to their buildup. And I think it comes back to having the double tens that they have. I don't know if it's necessarily advantageous to have one of them drop and play as defensively. And it's usually Panos. But again, it could be Emmy. And the buildup of the guy who needs to be in the final third, the guy that needs to be at the 18 to make the final ball or shoot, is picking the ball up 45, 50 yards away from the field. Right? And even if you can dribble at 30 yards, you now have 3 guys? You're going to have to beat somebody.
Yeah.
Like, it's not where you're picking the ball up 25 yards out, take it, turn. Now you can play the ball in behind, chip it over, do whatever. And then I know O also tweeted about the lack of crossing accuracy. So not only are they not having balls into the final third, into the box, even when they do, they're not on target to anybody. So it's just, it's not possession for possession's sake, but that's what the result ends up being because they're not being very dangerous in the final third.
You know, that is so funny you mentioned that. And we have a great stat from StatLacker Reese. There were 12 crosses attempted in this match. Can you guess how many of those 12 crosses were completed?
I'm going to go with 1.
You're very close. It's 2. It's 2 out of 12 crosses. That's about 1/6. It is 1/6 for those of you keeping math at home. It's about 16.67% accuracy of those crosses completed, right? It kind of resulted in falling. It was a lack of chances. Only 6 total chances created within the match. Only 2 created in the second half. Both of them came from Panos Armanakis, came in the 66th and 67th minute in a where it turned for a second into a bit of an open game. But, you know, this was just one where Rising was just on the clamps, man. And I really tend to agree they were picking up the ball in some relatively deep positions. And okay, if you have those types of players who are able to carry it forward and to make things happen, so be it. But I think even still, if you're getting the guys in the wrong positions and you're not putting the ball in the most advantageous positions, you're not going to result in a lot. This team needs to be braver where they're passing from the back line into forward, into midfield. And again, this is where we've been saying it throughout this season of all this side to side trying to break a team down. If you ultimately don't attack through the middle in those advanced positions, you're going to have to rely on the crosses. And if you can clearly see about what we're saying here, 2 out of 12, that ain't doing it. So it's not coming through the middle. It's not coming from the crosses. Where does it come from?
Well, obviously with the 10s having to drop, it becomes a numbers battle, right, in the midfield. So if the concern for Danny and company is the numbers in the mid, I wouldn't mind a slight formation tweak to where instead of being the 3-4-3, I guess, or right where and maybe like a 3-5-1 or even a 3 I guess that would be like a 3-6-1. You could really get in a lot of mid, but more like a 3-5-2.
Yep.
But you get what I'm saying, like, right? Like that. Even if it was a 3-5-2, think about who the other guy with Remy is. It's Panos, it's Emmy, it's Fede, it's Gallardo, it's right. It's not a striker. He's gonna drop a tad bit. Sure. So that's where I get the 3-6-1, right? But you would have the numbers in the midfield, and you could allow for a guy like, and again, I don't know where Julio was last game, but a guy like Julio who has the ability to run, play balls that break lines, turn, a little bit different player than a Jose, right? I think Julio and Renzo together being those two holding mids, I think they can do a job. And then again, if you can have Panos, Emmy, Fede, whoever you want up there, all 5 of those guys could play together if you wanted, right? You have to find a way to make the midfield work. Because as you said, if you're not getting it from the midfield or the wings, you're literally just, it's route 1 at that point.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting, and just how this team is able to kind of go about it. Right, I've seen Marlon in the chat. How many times do we have to change the lineup until we have a starting squad? I mean, that's the tough thing. Like sometimes you know who your starting 11 is, and I think there's a lot of positions on this team that isn't necessarily up for grabs. Right, you know your goalkeeper, you know pretty much your back line, if not the majority of your back line on almost all matches. Right, you know who your number 9 is when healthy, and you know. I would say throughout the midfield and, wing-back positions, right? Couple guys, maybe you give rotation purely just from tired legs, but the vast majority of these starters, I think it is when you kind of start to tweak and all of that stuff, little players here and there is, there's a balance between trying to get the most out of the guys available and also, I don't know. It's tough because I think some of it comes down to personnel, but then also some of it just comes down to where you're positioning, like how you're actually playing. Sometimes I agree with Marlon, like the starting 11 can it be improved? Sure. But other times, I just don't know if these guys are in the right position sometimes.
I think now because they don't have a midweek game for months, I think September is the next Wednesday, we're going to see a consistent rest, which means we should see consistent lineups.
Yep.
If we continue to see this rotation-esque in the lineup from week to week, I just don't think that bodes well for for any sport. If you're look at the Suns. If you're continuously having different lineups, it's usually not going to work.
Yep.
Like, you're going to have a solid core that you can then tweak here and there based on a guy needs a day off. He can only give you 45 minutes, whatever it may be. But I think this is going to be the telling sign now, because it was different when you were playing Wednesdays the last couple months, right? And you were playing 3 games. Like, we had Ryan Flood start at striker twice because Remy just played every minute.
Yeah.
So now you have some ample rest. You play once a week. Let's see what Danny ends up doing, and let's see how the team ends up doing. But I think it's possible to play your best 11 every week now, barring injury.
And that's a big thing. Barring injury, seeing Andrew in the chat, would love to see some young guns in the squad. Right, it's curious, right? Maybe there's some of those tired legs, like you mentioned, right? Not having to play any of the more of those midweek matches for a while. Hopefully it should help this team. But, that may have been a factor, in retrospect from this match. I mean, right, you're seeing the difference in between the first half and the second half. When you look at the first half and just some of the stats that came out of this, it was a cagey match. There wasn't a ton in it, but, those first half stats, it does lead you to, right, this team, they, had the edge in expected goals by a hair. They were even on shots. They were about even on shots on target. Everything was there from the first half where, right, like Rising was actually threatening. But if you look at the second half and actually seeing the stats in there, do you know how many expected goals that Rising generated in the second half? Again, courtesy of Stylac Reese, of course.
Is that it?
Well, yeah, that'd be it. It's now on screen, so now that people can see it.
God, that is awful.
It's 0.1. It's 0.1 for those listening on AO. 0.1 XG in the second half from Rising. 2 shots, 0 on target, 1 inside the box. Again, there were 2 chances created and just really tough build up, to say the least, man. It's listen, we've seen some pretty dire stats. That might be one of the more depressing halves from a stat perspective I've seen in a while.
That's just pathetic, man. Like, if you would have told me Rising was playing with 10, I'd be like, okay,
yeah,
good job.
Sure.
Like, you did what you had to for 45, but you're at your full strength. You're at 11. I mean, one of those, I understand there are games where it's like, okay, you are going to have to just brace this one. You're just going to have to see it through and get the point, and that's what they ended up doing. But as we had mentioned, this is, although a new Vegas, this is not an elite team. This isn't a Sacramento, right? Like this isn't. And I know they're gonna hate it. This isn't New Mexico, man. Like, New Mexico's good this year, whether you want to admit it or not. They can play.
The chat's gonna run with that one.
They can play, man.
They can. Yeah.
So it's just we talked about this week particularly, or not even this week, but their next few games, because they have a harder schedule coming up now, and how you needed to get, we said 6 or 7 points, right? Yep. And where are we at? Right, you just dropped 2, so now you're giving yourself no leash.
Yeah, and we're gonna see a little bit later in the show. Just there is a silver lining, and the one silver lining is the Western Conference is actually quite wide open when you look at it, and we'll get into that. The issue is, if you're not picking up points, and if you continue to drop the points, not just taking losses, which it's going to happen. This team has been having it, but they've had a lot of matches where they should be wins, or at the very least, on paper, they should be wins. These games are not played on paper. They need to be able to show up, and they just haven't done so. Too many draws against the opposition. When you look at them, you're hoping and kind of banking on 3 points. Just hasn't been happening. There are no easy games in this league.
Dude, it goes back to, what is the difference between winning 1 and losing 2, and then going unbeaten in 3, but you draw all of them?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go for the 3 points.
100%.
Like, it being unbeaten's cool. Great.
Yeah.
And then there's like the argument between Arsenal's invincible season and then this Bayer Leverkusen season, right? Where they go and they won trophies and they won more games, and whereas like Arsenal lost in other stuff, right? Like, being unbeaten's cool. Winning games, which Arsenal set their record this year, right, for most wins in a season for them. That's the accomplishment. In 2019, Phoenix Rising, 20 wins in a row. Go get 3 points.
Yeah. Congrats. This definitely is not a PHNX Arsenal podcast, but yeah, congrats, Arsenal. You get the hanging in the rafters, most wins in a season. Yay, good for you. Yeah, that's a good one. People are gonna love that. It's a classic Stylac, but it is one of those. Go for the win. It just makes it more worthwhile for the season. And I don't know, man. I do believe like in the long run, I think that's where a lot of these teams are like they're always trying to go for it.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to be able to win every match. That's just obviously how this thing goes. But hey, it's trying to make it, give it an all. That definitely helps. And then seeing Siley in the chat referencing some of those stats, those are some Burnley stats. Oh, dear gosh, that sounds about right. Listen, it was a tough one over the weekend, but one way to help refuel this team, get them back on track, is with our friends at Circle K. Circle K, they can get you refueled because, man, you can get a nice hydrating Polar Pop with what they have going on. 79 cents for all people. You have a pulse, go into Circle K, get a 79-cent Polar Pops. And hey, if you're an inner circle, remember, it's pretty darn cool. You can get one for 69 cents. That's 10 cents off. It's a pretty nice deal if you ask me. Check out Circle K. Again, get that 79-cent Polar Pop now through September 3rd, all summer long. Become an Inner Circle member. Again, you get save that 25 cents off per gallon, save that 10 cents per Polar Pop, and just all kinds of great benefits. We love Circle K. We're refueling with Circle K, and you can too. If Phoenix Rising can use a little bit. Check them out again, Circle K at participating locations. See store locations for details. Also, shout our friends at OG's Brands. Friends at OG's Brands, they're going to help you get fueled. Maybe you want to forget that game. Maybe you want to relax a bit. Maybe you just want to, I don't know, something. You need to just kind of escape a bit from that match. OG's Brands can help get it done. Rumor has it there may be some that were distributed from people on the bus. Was not on the bus, but that's what I hear. OG's Brands, they can make that just a little bit more enjoyable. They have the indicas, the sativas, fruits, the creams, the big OGs, and everything in between. Shout out our friends at OG's Brands. Go check them out online at ogsbrands.com to find them at a dispensary near you. And, of course, follow them on socials at OG's Brands. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. All right, man. It's we're trying to be all doom and gloom on this podcast, and it can be tough sometimes based on those recent matches, but we do have to turn our attention to Rising's weekend opponent in Orange County. Orange County, they're a team.
They are.
They're a team. They're kind of a weird one. Right? They're currently on the year, 12 matches played, 5 wins, 4 losses, 3 draws, a 0 goal differential. That is good for 4th in the West. Again, this is one that Phoenix Rising, they saw in the playoffs, the classic Emiquajo banger. The club was kind of reliving the memories where they put it out on le social, le Twitter, if you will. So kind of reliving that. But hey, this team has to go somewhere. And again, this is kind of where we're alluding to. It's a wide open West, because for those of you who are looking on screen, it's pretty crazy. Right? New Mexico, they're top of the table. They have a -1 goal differential. Okay? Bear with me here. Sac Republic, second in the West, 7 goal differential. That is the 7 goal differential, plus 7 goal differential. Best in the West. The next best is Memphis with a +3 goal differential. They are 7th in the West. There are 8 teams that qualify, for the playoffs in this format. There are only 4 teams in the entire West with a positive goal differential. Everyone else is either at 0 or negative. This West, in theory, is wide open. There are 6 points that separate the top team from the 8th team. And if you're looking at people who are outside the playoff picture, 9 and 10 are only, okay, maybe they're a little bit far out. But, right, the point is there is a lot of room that Rising can make up. It's just actually, can they get it done? Because Rising has the 0 goal differential. They're playing a team with a 0 goal differential. They just happen to be 2 points ahead of them. It is more wide open than people think, and it's still early on in the season. That is, again, the silver lining we talked about. But Orange County, they gotta get something from them. And you really hope it's all 3 points. Again, Rising should go for all 3 points. But it's gonna be a tough one because Rising just continues to not get wins in these situations. It's tough, man.
So with the goal difference being around even, if you are mid to lower table, that is more of an indication that you are just an average team.
Yes.
If it is up toward the higher end of the table, that is an indication that when you lose, you get your ass kicked. So if you look at New Mexico, they lost to Charleston, I believe it was 4-0, and then they lost to Tampa 3-0.
Yep.
So that's a -7 from 2 losses. They lost their 3rd game of the entire season this weekend. And if it wasn't for Siaha playing if anyone watched that game, it was the most unbelievable game I've ever seen. Like that, player of the week. I voted for him, rightfully so. Like Rocco would have been the keeper that's in the starting 11 for player of the week, team of the week, if it wasn't for him. That being said, you have an Orange County team that is not one of those that they don't score a ton. They're not an offensive bunch, right? It's not like you're playing a powerhouse to where you know that if the floodgates do open, it can be a rout. That being said, they've always been a team that's very, very defensively sound, very compact. I could see this being a very, very boring game where it's 0-0, maybe 1-1. You know, think about the Birmingham game, maybe, right? To where Birmingham didn't do much offensively. They had their moments, but they didn't really do much. It was all Rising trying to create, right? I think we see more of that. I mean, it's not in OC. So there's no reason. It's going to be hot, right? You haven't played in a week. You should get a full 11. Everyone's good to go. This to me should be 3 points. This should not be a tie. Yeah. Like you have to win this game.
Oh boy. Yeah. No, it's you kind of look at how Orange County is trending. And we say all these things about Phoenix Rising and what they're looking at. In Orange County, heck, man, they've been even worse. They've been worse record-wise recently. Right, I do agree that this could be a very, boring game in the sense of, right, again, Phoenix Rising, they have been built this season on, if they're not scoring goals, they're really going to try to stifle their opponents to not doing the same thing. Rocco Rios Novo, was named to the Team of the Week bench. Honorable mention, which is kind of crazy given that he had just a standout performance, 10 saves, most by any USL Championship keeper this season. But right, he's going to do his best to keep shots off, goals out of his net, everything like that. They're facing an Orange County team that scored 15 goals within their 12 matches. A little bit better than 1 average per game, but nothing super crazy to write home about. They are in the middle of their own 4-match losing streak across all competitions, right? Some losses they don't sound good. Open Cup losses and a USL loss, both to Loudoun.
They won last week.
Lost it. Oh, well, sorry. Reese put it wrong. Reese, you said 4. You said 4. You said a 4-match losing streak. Yes, I see the one against Detroit. Yeah, but you didn't say that. Yeah, but you didn't say it was like active. What are we doing here? You could have specified. All right. Anyway, they did have a 4-match losing streak against all competitions. Thanks a lot, Stylaki. Right, and was broken by their recent match against Detroit City FC. Where okay, cool. They scored 3 goals, all that stuff. Yeah. That's nice and all. But it's curious to see on which one is going to kind of going to show up. Right, they lost to Louisville. They lost to Oakland within that streak. They get ones against Loudoun. That's just not great. But on the season, they're scoring 1.25 goals per game. Expected goals a little bit lower than that. Goals conceded, they're conceding the same amount as they're scoring due to that 0 goal difference. Expected goals, though, 1.32. So their expected goals against is higher than their goals conceded. That means they should be letting in more goals than they are, and yet they should be scoring less than they are. Maybe there's an opportunity there for Rising. Expected goals against Detroit was 0.58. How the heck did they get 3 goals with a 0.58 XG, Reese? Ew.
Set pieces.
Gross. Set
shots
pieces.
from distance, man.
Disgusting. And 12 chances created. Okay, so this could be a very grimy game on both sides.
That's why I said the Birmingham thing, man. Their chances are not going to be from open play. They're going to be from corners and counterattacks.
Yeah. That's
like Rising's going to have the ball the most of the time, I believe. Break them down, score. The biggest, just score early.
Yeah.
Force them out. Then you catch them. Then you rout them 5-0. Bring back the old days.
I would, listen.
Rising would be up by 2 in the 25th minute. If you were late, you missed the whole game.
Dick saying up 2 by the 25th minute, saying 5. Saying
That was back in
5-0.
the day. This is not this
Saying
thing.
5-0. Listen, Rising scored more than 2 goals once this season. Heck, I can't even remember. Can we count on only one how many times they scored twice? Like this team does not score much at all yet. Definitely not in bunches. So listen, 5-0. That's pretty crazy. I mean, shoot, man.
Haven't their last 2 goals been pens?
Oh man,
they haven't scored an open play since Miami.
Yeah, no, it's definitely been a while. Goodness. Oh my gosh, that is gross. What, Detroit? Oh, that was before. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was before. Yeah. Oh gosh, we're racking our brain. That was a corner against Detroit. That was sick. It was a cool back heel by Julio. Let's see. Going on Pat. Don't see Rising generating anything to create offense. You know what? Let's do it. We got a score prediction. Chat, chime in as well. What do we got?
I predicted 2-1. And look what we got in Vegas. Give me 2-1 again. Orange County will find a way to get a corner. They'll poke one in. I feel like it's going to be a game to where Phoenix goes down, and for some reason they respond once they go down. Right? It's like that's the trigger that makes the fire go. When all along we're like, how come you couldn't play like this the whole time? I feel like it's going to be one of those games where the frustration becomes the drive.
Okay. So 2-1.
2-1, and they come from behind.
Interesting. Okay. 2-1 Phoenix Rising victory where they come from behind. Seeing Dale in the chat, 0-0. I really hope you're wrong, Dale. Nothing personal against you. I don't want to see that. Go on, man, Pat. 0-2. OC gets at least 1 pen. All right. Go on, Pat is trying to be the realist among us. Eric in the chat, 1-1. Okay, I can see that. Siley, 1-0 Rising. That's where I'm going as well. I'm going 1-0 Rising. I think this will be an absolutely gross game. I'll be optimistic. I think they pull it out, but I don't know how. Reese Rising has scored more than once on 4 occasions this year. Oh, dear gosh. It'll be either 1-1 or 1-0 Rising. Reese, which one is it? Can't say or. There's only one. All right, if he has to pick, he says he'll pick.
He scored 3 against
1-1.
Tulsa.
Yeah, one time they've scored more than 2, and again, according to Statlack, you keep on retainer, only scored more than once 4 times. Yeah, he's giving me a quizzical look.
In Rhode Island, twice.
Yes,
twice.
In Rhode Island. Rhode Island was
3-1.
I guess it was. Okay, Statlack Reese, he confirmed it was once. Okay, he's laying me down multiple times today. We're going to shift the blame on him. You know what you did, and what you didn't do is do good research. Andrew Dang in the chat, if we score 2 goals in the first half, it would be like Spider-Man grab some napalm's back at Goblin's Glider.
The old days.
Wow, that was a throwback. Goodness, no free ads, but that's prospecting when I do it. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's a reference. Little Green Goblin action. Let's see. Reese, the 4 matches in which they scored more than once: Miami, North Carolina in the Open Cup, Tulsa, and Detroit. Okay, yes, Fat Kid, bring back the old days. 5-0 Rising. Man. We'll have to see. Goodness gracious. I hope this team can do something. It's like this team's kind of like the meme. It's like poking with a stick. It's like, come on, do something. Yeah. That was nice. Reese, clip that. Get a little, come on. Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know, man. This one is, I hope this match doesn't get ugly. I hope that Rising pull out a win. And I don't think
ugly in a way that they're losing, because it's going to be an ugly match.
It's going to be an ugly match, man. I don't know. This is I think this is one of those matches where you really hope they win, and that it just brings back some of the momentum, because to your point, you said earlier in the pod, you can take your unbeaten streaks and all that stuff, but if you're not securing points, what does this have you? And again, lest we not forget, what was it, 2 weeks ago, we're going into that Open Cup match. Rising is riding a 4-match unbeaten streak in all competitions, flying pretty high, and you're thinking, hey, we have a shot. They go up 1-0, the stroke of halftime in Seattle, away at Seattle, and now they've, I'm going to say fallen back down from earth is a understatement. 0 goals in their last 3 matches.
They went into the Seattle 5-match unbeaten.
Oh my goodness.
And right, yeah, they have and then they lost 2 in a row, and then they had the tie.
My word.
This is a get right game.
It's a fact check podcast. Yeah.
This is a get right game. I mean,
It is.
You got a team on the horizon in El Paso who apparently can play now that they have a new coach, which tends to happen. Look who they just beat.
Yeah.
Like, they just beat San Antonio on the road and Charleston.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Yeah, Dale, but good point. Of those 4 in MD Detroit was in form. Goodness. And also, again, I hope going on path wrong. This will be one of those matches that the post-game highlight video from the league's last 2 minutes. Goodness, man. I hope not. I hope there's a lot of highlights. One highlight you can be having, enjoying little Four Peaks. Little Four Peaks, right? Little Phoenix Rising Stadium action. That sounds like a good match to me. Check out Four Peaks, especially, a little tailgating, a little Bad Birdie, juicy golden ale. People were enjoying it on the bus. Again, from what I've heard, apparently there was like some sticker being passed out that someone was buying free beers, which is crazy. Can't believe someone would do that, but what a nice person, whoever that was. But you can check out Four Peaks. Again, their Bad Birdie, juicy golden ale. It is absolutely delicious. Dare I say thirst quenching? I don't know if I can legally say hydrating because I don't think that's science, but it is thirst quenching. That is for darn sure. There is a difference. Is there a difference between thirst quenching and hydrating? Anyone?
Absolutely.
All right, beautiful. Well, they are thirst quenching, but not hydrating. Because it's beer. It is liquid gold to your lips. Again, that Bad Birdie juicy golden ale. It is fantastic. Check it out today. Four Peaks at their 8th Street Pub. And of course, also check them out really wherever you can get your beer at Four Peaks Pub and at Four Peaks Brew. Follow them on those socials to keep up with the latest and greatest going on in Arizona's hometown brewery. Of course, you must be 20 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Also, you can get some Four Peaks Burrs. Friends of Valley Taproom. Valley Taproom. They got the Four Peaks. They got the wine slushies. They got great place to check out a little Copa action. If you're on the east side and you want to check out, indulge in a little footy, check out Valley Taproom, right? They got 2 locations in Gilbert and Queen Creek, to really get you going, right? The nice little intimate atmosphere, done the watch parties there, stuff like that. Be on the lookout, trying to do a little bit of some Copa action there as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. We do have some USA Copa stuff going on that will be announced here. Maybe this week, maybe next week, but it's going to happen with plenty of time. Again, if you're a fan of U.S. men's national team, follow us again at PHNX_Rising to keep up with what we got going on. But of course, shout out our friends at Valley Taproom. Follow them on social at Valley Taproom and check them out online at valleytaproom.com. All right. Well, that was a segment where we're doing score predictions. You know what's not a score prediction? And I really hope he's still on here. How about the Wales? How about the Welsh national team? Guys, I don't know if you know this, but when was the last time Gibraltar got a result in a match? Anyone in the chat, please.
I think I saw the graphic. It was like 30 matches or something ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it wasn't great. Rumor has it was since before the World Cup happened.
Oh my God, that's almost
pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
November
2022, before the World Cup kicked off, was the last time that they lost. And I'm pretty sure, I think they had an aggregate score of like 50-0. I'm pretty sure that was like the scoreline aggregate of what they had in those matches. And yet, well, the Minnow Gibraltar gets a result 0-0 against Wales. Guys, how does that happen?
I want to know what the betting odds going into the game were now.
Oh man. I don't know. Our friends at BetMGM, I don't have them pulled up in front of me. Is that producer Shane, betting expert Shane? Is he fiddling behind the Mac? Do you have those on you by chance?
I can look for them. I can dig.
What a guy. Yeah, you dig. You dig all right.
I cannot imagine what even just like double chance tie no bet would have been.
My gosh.
Double chance we would have won the bet.
Oh man.
Or if we would have predicted a tie somehow. It's got to be plus 1,000.
Oh, goodness. It's
So Gibraltar on most
here we go.
Most books was 50-1, which equates to plus 5,000. Which you throw $100, you'd win $5,000
to win.
To win.
Dear gosh.
To draw, let me find. Hold on.
I said plus 1,000. Should I be a bookie?
Oh my gosh. Yes, this was from. Okay, here's another little thing. This was tweeted from the official coverage of Wales. Gibraltar are currently enduring their this before the match. Gibraltar are currently enduring their longest losing run in international football, having lost their past 13 games in all competitions by an aggregate score of 50-0.
Jesus.
Draw was 14-1, so plus 1,400, so close.
Damn, and then that wasn't too bad. I even shortchanged it.
And then afterwards, the Gibraltar FA quote tweeted it with a bit awkward and the Michael Scott gif going yeah, this really plays well if you're on audio. But yeah, it was that's clapback as we've seen. Can you remember the last time a country's gotten more up for a draw? It's pretty darn impressive. It's a little San Marino action if we're looking for it, and that's been a while.
I mean, I'm pretty up for the draw Italy had against England in the Euro 2020 final.
No, dude, stop. We're talking about unexpected. I
mean, I heard it was coming home, but it went to Rome.
Okay, well, we can all agree with that. That's what we're all happy with. Oh,
Saka's my favorite player when he missed that pen, dude.
oh boy, we got a little banter between Jake and the lackey. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm assuming Owen by now is not in the chat, or maybe he's just silent because he has nothing to say.
3 a.m.
I don't know. Anyone know the time difference?
It's 9 hours to Italy. I know that.
Current Wales time. We got 2:41. That was a good guess. Well done. Yes, that was a toughie. Yeah, Wales didn't do great. We do have a redeeming thing though, and maybe Owen can help use this from, dare I say, drinking his sorrows away, is our man Albert. He's a freaking guy, dude. So there's a longer Twitter exchange that's on there confirming this, but I got this package randomly, super randomly, just on my desk. I'm like, what is this? I open it up. This man, he sent 2 shot glasses with Owen and I's emoji on it. There's a Welsh flag and a toilet, which is just classic. And then, of course, the PHNX Rising podcast logo. It's absolutely beautiful. I was honestly kind of speechless. I was laughing. I had a good laugh. I had a good smile over it. And then I had to think, who sent this to me? Where did this come from? Because I had a conversation in passing, but I'm like, there's no way this actually happened. And then a little back and forth with our man Albert. Again, you can follow him on Twitter. Give him a shout out at Godleskey, AGODLESSKEY on Twitter. And he's like, oh yeah, we had a conversation about this at the game 4 weeks ago. I'm like, I have a lot of conversations with people at the game. Of course, people tell me that they're going to send shot glasses with my faces on it, but he actually did it. So Albert, shout out to you, sir. You're the man. We appreciate you. I even have them, right? It's going to be a horrible Zoom, but we're holding them, right? Boom. Got a little action right there. Oh, yes. Thank you, Shano. Boom. Little shot glass action with Owens and I faces on it. Now, here's the thing, guys. We can't just let this stop here. We got to make this worthwhile. You know me. I'm doing toilet bowl shots. I will happily use that. We have to find some stipulation to get Owen to buy into this, because Owen, he's a little prickly and he's like, I won't do that. Let's find something to actually get him using the shot glass. Let's get creative. You can hit us up at PHNX__rising, at me, at him. We'll figure it out.
Getting Owen to drink isn't that difficult.
Well, no, it's not getting Owen to drink. It's let's get him in a forum where he's using his shot glass on it. Because listen, that's a nice keepsake, man. It's got his face. It's got Wales. I mean, maybe not great today, if you know what I mean. And then, the PHX Rising podcast. That's a nice keepsake. So we have to get him in a forum where he's able to use it and use it well. But yes, Albert, you're the man. You die hard. PHNX die hard. Appreciate the heck out of you. That's nice. That's good people.
It really is.
Really is. Yeah, man. I mean, just what a nice surprise. And it's a great thing to kind of come to the office to. But goodness, I think we've kind of probably hit everything we've need to. I will give a shout out if you want to become a diehard and say nice things. You don't have to become a diehard to send us stuff, but we'll give you an extra shout out, right? Become a diehard at the phnxlocker.com. You, of course, sign up. Get a shirt of your choice, like the one I am repping. Other Rising shirts as well. You can get a scarf, all the good stuff in there. You get access to our newsletter, the Die Hard articles, just all the great stuff we have going on. Of course, the Discord is the big one, in which case we're going back and forth, all kinds of good stuff. And you guys will be the first to know about the Copa matches and the watch parties that we're going to be doing. But yeah, become a diehard. It's really fun, really rewarding. Albert loves it. We appreciate you guys. Mr. Jake, is there anything else that we are forgetting? We kind of ran the circuit today.
If we can scroll up, Sally actually had a comment that
nope. I think I know. No, we don't know.
That's what. Yeah.
No, we don't need
One.
that. Yeah,
And
you don't need to put that on screen.
Players England squad, number of players in your trophy cap.
This is not a PHNX Spurs podcast, which you guys don't want that. I'd be insufferable. Let's spin the zone those back. This is a PHNX Wrexham podcast. Again, maybe they could have used some Wrexham players on that Welsh squad today, and they maybe would have gotten a little bit of a better result. Owen was just texting me. He's like, Page is out. This guy sucks. I'm like, yeah, that was a rough one. But yeah, again, remember to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You know, if it's 5-star, we'd love that. Leave a comment. Haven't gotten one in a week or two, and I'm starting to get to think you guys don't want us to read this on the show. Again, go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review and a comment. It'll take you 20 seconds, maybe, especially if you have good Wi-Fi, 20 seconds, maybe slow Wi-Fi, maybe 30. I don't know, but boom, do it. It'd be awesome. And you will get it read on this podcast. I've read all kinds of ones. Welsh, there are a couple Welsh supporting ones. Really, Wrexham. Wrexham's the big one. Big Wrexham fan. PHNX Wrexham. Let's go. But other than deterring us from comments like that don't matter. Anything else you would like you got for us?
I just want to see Rising get 3 points, man. At home. It's a summer match now. You know, these are the ones that they dominated back in the day because no one can prep for this.
Yeah.
It's hot now. It's officially freaking hot. So you should have no problem. I get OCs in Southern California, but it's nice over there compared to here. The only team is Vegas that has a similar climate that they can. So I don't ever expect Vegas to have issues in heat. This team, Orange County, shouldn't be prepared. You should have the advantage, hit them early, attack early, and if you can get the lead, now you force a team that's not good at attacking to have to play it.
Yeah. Facts, man. Clip that tonight, like we'll leave it on that. Appreciate everyone joining us. Again, you can follow us at PHNX __ rising because double the underscore.
Double fun.
I love it. Tried and true. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Simpson. You can follow Mr. Jake Anderson on Twitter at JWA1994. You can follow Stat Like Your Reese on Twitter at Reese11 _. You can follow Shane Diefenbach, the producer behind the Mac, the mustache behind the Mac, at Shane Dief. Of course, you can follow Owen on Twitter at OJEvans18. Make sure to give him a nice, lovely note. Very nice, kind, and compassionate about just he had a rough day with Wales. Definitely don't rub it in his face. He would hate that. Don't do that, guys. Of course, you can follow Jacob Franklin. Where can we follow Jacob Franklin today?
At Stinky Boy.
At Stinky Boy. Yeah, we're gonna create a burner. It says at Stinky Boy, and it's Jacob Franklin. Reese with the great material to end on. Thank you, sir. It's a beautiful game, but it's even more beautiful when you don't travel across the world to watch your country draw 0-0 with Gibraltar. Good night, everyone.
We all silly like the mayor.